Today we're gonna kind of review and install a Continental Race 28 700C inner tube for my road bike, and this is made by Continental. So generally, this fits up to 25C and all the way down to 20C on your 700 series or size race tubes or inner tube. And I bought this one specifically because it's 42 millimeters long in the valve area, and I have a S80 rim, and it's about 80 millimeters plus tall, and I needed to have this be able to be extended. So let's take a look at what this is about. I'm gonna open it and show what's inside. Oh, so it's wrapped up in plastic, the rubber band-ish thing, and specifically I'm gonna install it right now after I show the valve area. So this valve is supposed to be buildable, so removable. So I'm gonna remove this valve to extend this valve to another additional valve so I can actually fit it into my rim, and I'll show that in a little bit. So I have this Continental valve extender that I needed for my S80 rim in the background, if you noticed, and so I'm gonna install this right now. So the first thing we need to do is take off this valve at the very top, and the valve extension comes with this small tool, so it's you should be able to remove it with this tool. So I'm gonna remove it right now. And this is the core, and this is the valve that we want to extend, and this is the tool that I'm using right here. So test fitting this valve length into the S80 rim, it's too short, so I will need to extend it one more time to make sure that it goes all the way through the aero rim and all the way into out, so I can pump up the tire. This is how it looks like with both valves extenders onto the valve. So I'm gonna put the core back in. So with the valve and the core back in, I'm gonna inflate the tire or tube a little bit and then install it into the rim. Okay, with the tube slightly inflated, I'm gonna release some air and then install it into the rim. So with the valve extender inside, I didn't pump it up and install it yet, but with the valve extender in there, this is how much it protrudes out the valve area. And now for the tire install. Okay, with the valve in and the tire almost installed, you're supposed to basically fill in the tube into the tire. Okay, with the tube in the tire, you're gonna use some tools to actually put the tire on. I have these tire tools to actually wedge it in. So first, you just tuck in the tire. I normally tuck in the tire from the valve area and all the way to the other opposite end of the tire. So to me, the last part of this, it was almost the last part. The hardest part is actually doing the last tucking in of the tire. And that part is you need the tools to actually make it consistent. So I use this tool. So you basically tuck this in and use the tool to wedge it in. After you actually install the tire onto the wheel, what you want to do is double check the seals. So the seals, these are clinchers. Never use a screwdriver. This is something I've seen people do. Never use a screwdriver because you'll pop the tube. So you want to just check if the tube is mounted in the tire correctly. So you just go around the tire and make sure that the tube is all the way in and secure into the tire. So after you verify and confirm that the tube and wheel and tire are properly installed, then you pump it up to slowly into what you want the pressure to be. Generally it's about 125 psi. I go about 100 when I'm not riding the bike, and then inflate it to 115 to 120 depending on the heat and temperature and how long I'm going to be riding the bike. The valve installed for the extender, it's actually easier to pump up on tire now. I mean, now it goes throughout the rim, and according to this rim it's 125 psi. I'm not riding it yet, so I'm gonna pump it up to 100 just for a storage. I plan to ride tomorrow and then pump it up. So with the tire pumped up to 100 psi, I check for any sounds of air leakage, and I don't hear anything. I'm gonna wait until tomorrow and see what's going on. If there's more, or if there's leakage, I'll just measure the psi's. I pumped it to roughly 100 psi's, and the tube is fully installed. It fits perfectly into this Grand Prix 4000S and into this rim. It's solid, and it didn't feel cheap like other tire inner tubes I used. So I'll ride it and give a full review after my first ride tomorrow. And the last thing you want to do is put this cap on, because gravity will pull that and make air leak in certain angles or when you ride. So after riding it for a few miles, this tube seems really good compared to the cheaper versions of inner tubes. The lining or the actual material of this is really good. It's not thin compared to the cheaper versions of inner tubes. I like the fact that you can change the length using valve extenders in the rebuildable or removable cores. Not a lot of inner tubes have that, and I need that specifically. So if you have a rim that needs extension, I definitely recommend this one, because it's kind of hard to find really good or anything that has a good quality build of inner tubes that have that are like decently priced. This one's medium in the middle of pricing in terms of inner tubes, and I really enjoy the fact that it's quite affordable and reliable. Hope this review helps you, and click like if you like this review and installation. Take care. Bye.